Don't do it. Oh, God.
I'm going to turn my phone off because it's going to keep on going like that. People keep texting me. Not even one, just in case it's Jimmy.
Keep it low if you have to keep it on.
Okay, I was look at 2 text messages and turn it off. Go through Facebook.
Hello and welcome to America, the View from the Top. Well, we're in very exciting times and I'm so glad you're here today with me because we're going to be talking about a very exciting subject, rent control. I have Ed Gilligan back with me today to bring us some updates on the rent control. Hello, Ed.
Good morning, Greta.
Oh, I'm so happy. This is, Bayonne is in such a happy mode right now. We just got a new mayor and we're so excited. And I hope the whole city is just as jubilant as we are because it makes us feel so good. Like I said, I can sleep better at night now. I'm not so stressed out about everything that's going on. I'm telling you, things like this stress the people and can make you sick.
Absolutely.
So you've been very involved with this whole thing, but you've got your own agenda, and that's been going on for a couple of years now.
Yes, since they passed the legislation that placed vacancy decontrol in Bayonne.
It's a horrible situation. I mean, it caused a lot of people a lot of problems.
It was a good plan that didn't work.
Yeah,
We have to just walk away from it.
right.
It had great effects upon senior citizens in Bayonne.
Yes.
We have no tenant advocacy in City Hall. People would call up to 25 times complaining they had no heat, that the ceilings were falling in, and no response would occur. We had senior citizens, primarily that's my main focus because they're the most vulnerable.
And forgotten too.
Forgotten. They would have fires started, as in your case, under their apartment.
Right, to get us
and
out.
forced out.
Yeah.
This is harassment in its greatest form. We had one building, it was front page of the Jersey Journal, where they took the doors off apartments, gutted the apartments, and all that dust and fumes would come out and under the doors of the tenant apartments, forcing them out. And then the landlord would tell you that they left voluntarily.
Exactly.
That was harassment. My committee man said to me, why were there no lawsuits? We did have lawsuits. And it was a lawsuit about a man whose bathroom was being replaced. For 6 months, it was being replaced. Luckily, his mother lived around the corner, so he was able to go there and actually probably stay at her apartment. But when it came to collect the rent back, it was held back and not pay the rent actually, the Department of Health came and lost the file. The file that there were photos in, the files that reported, documented, created a file in City Hall, all this nonsense under the Smith administration. But he was 30 years, he was a best friend of the landlords for 30 years.
Yep.
So that was a very embarrassing mark on the city's character. But just another one that didn't make the papers.
Well, you know, my friend lives in one of those apartments right now off the boulevard. I actually helped him get it last year, and It was all being renovated. It was a beautiful apartment. I said, this is perfect for you, right? Near the bus and everything, first floor. Guess what's wrong with this apartment? He's got somebody upstairs. This is brand new now, that lets the water run over the tub and is depleting his ceiling and walls into his tub. Not only that, in the closet in the hall where you come in and he puts clothes in there, they've got the sewer pipes right there where that smell is coming into the apartment. And that's dangerous. That's a health hazard.
Sure.
I've been down at City Hall to the health department, and I asked them to come and, they said, we'll send the letter, and after 10 days, we'll start finding them $1,200 a day. I went back another time. About
Maybe you should go on Tuesday night when the mayor is there.
Yeah, right. And 12 o'clock, I called back and I said, why isn't nothing happening? I'm talking to this young guy that's in the Board of Health. Very nice guy, wants to work with me and everything else. He even gave me, I said, this man cannot stay here. He's 75 years old. He's gone through 5 bypasses. He just finished getting treatments for prostatic cancer. Right. He's really diabetic, and he's got psoriasis, and he's got breathing problems. So this man is in this place. This place is killing him right now, health-wise. Sure. I said, you've got to get out of here. So he gave me a list of apartments, and he told me this one and 3 of them, and he said, this one might be your best bet. I think he's a nice landlord, and he'll work very well with my friend. So, even the health department, they don't push. I'm a health professional.
I can recommend a number of tenant-friendly apartment buildings.
Yeah, and I'm going to have to try to get him another, because
Sure.
I know this man 23 years. He's like a child. I go through all his problems with him, go to City Hall, fight him, win him, but because he speaks Spanish and he gets nervous when he starts talking to Americans, he loses, and
Is that the reason you went to City Hall for him, because he spoke Spanish?
And you can get Spanish-speaking people, I know that, but they don't know him like I know him, and they will not fight for him like I fight for him.
Exactly.
And I make sure that I win with him, because to me it's a priority.
Sure.
Because I know him.
Should be a priority for City Hall.
Yep, but I'm my own advocate. I fight a lot of battles for people, because when I find out that there's something that's not going right, you're going to see me right at the front out there, and I'm going to do it. I don't care who does what. I can talk my way out of a lot of things because I've been experienced. I've worked with the public since 1959, when I became a registered medical technologist, and I did my training in 1,500 patient hospitals. I became a 4th runner in the laboratory. I deal with hundreds of people every day. I solve their medical problems, their health problems. I'm an advocate for them. Don't use this doctor if you're not happy. Go to 2, 3, 4 until you find the one. You have to educate, educate, educate. And for me, educating the public, and educating the people in Bayonne, this is why I've been doing these shows for 11 years. Because I want you to be smarter, better, more in control of yourself. And this is why we do the rent control, because that's a sore thing with me. I was in an apartment for 23 years, and I was never here. I was half in Maine, and come back for 2 months, gone 6 months, went to college, did what I had to outside of this state, even though I've been a resident since 1960. I came here as a bride, got married in St. Henry's, got an apartment, got a job in New York. Yeah, and I feel I belong in Bayonne.
Sure.
My children were born here. They went to school here. Everything.
And this is how a lot of citizens feel.
Right. This is my town.
During the last 6 years, we felt, many of us, that we were not included at the table.
We're orphans. Nobody wants us.
This is all going to change with the Davis administration.
Oh, I pray.
Of course, my issue is rent control.
Yeah.
There are many other issues. There are issues just including people in general.
Right.
The new population, minority population, is the Egyptian population. They're Arabic speaking, many of them. During the campaign, I had the opportunity to meet a couple who were Arabic speaking. They own their own home in Bayonne for 17 years.
Wow.
They worked very hard going to apartment buildings translating for the Arabic-speaking population and explaining to them that what the Smith campaign had told them was a lie. Mayor Smith was not in favor of rent control. There's no doubt about it. That's been well documented, but they believed the lie because somebody Arabic-speaking came and told them that.
See.
Now, we want to look at rent control again. We want to look at it from a different angle. Bring many more people to the table, not just a closed caucus meeting.
Right.
We want to bring people like Jay Coffey, an attorney in the city, who's really probably pro-tenant, pro-landlord. But we need to have that aspect represented.
He was here a long time ago, too, Coffee.
Yes.
That
yes.
name is very, I remember
well-respected attorney.
I remember that from a long
Okay?
time ago.
We have to have Marie Baccarella, a pro-rent control landlady. People such as this, Annie Smith, Mildred Smith, we always call them because they're so active as tenants in the Bayonne Tenant Organization and in the Davis campaign. We said to Mildred she was the president of Smiths for Davis. I don't know if the population didn't grow too much in Bayonne, but these ladies, Terry Grant, Doreen Denaga, they've all worked very hard, pro-rent control,
Right.
pro-Davis, because they're senior citizens.
Right.
Their homes are in jeopardy.
Mm-hmm.
The last administration did not care about that. They gave an empty promise of, we will protect you, you're under the grandfather clause. And we were very well able to establish and document that protection was very thin. We have to now shore up, and there'll be some negotiations, I'm sure, with the rent control issue. I can't even tell you what those negotiations will entail. I'm open to looking at it from a different angle.
Right.
Nothing, it's very hard to go backward in time.
Well, lessons should be learned from what's happened in the past.
We're moving in a new direction.
Exactly.
We're not going backward,
Nope.
okay? We're moving in a new direction. And as I say, looking at a table full of people representing different communities and different interests, looking at the rent control issue. We have to include the Broadway businessman, because look at the effect a vacancy decontrol has had on the small business owner. We've moved a lot of people into buildings. They did not have expendable income. They could not afford to shop in Broadway. Now, the out-of-town landlords, the out-of-town developers made out very well.
Oh, yeah.
The profit motivation was there to harass senior citizens out of their apartments.
Exactly.
These were faithful, rent-paying, tax-paying citizens.
Exactly.
We keep confusing the fact that people who live and rent in Bayonne may not be taxpayers. They sure are.
If you pay rent, you pay tax.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
It may not come from your checkbook, but the source of the money to deposit in that checkbook, the owner's checkbook, is the tenant.
Right.
Now we have to bring the Egyptians to the table, and I'll be glad to welcome them. The Hispanic population, the various populations that represent rent-controlled tenants, as well as homeowners, and everyone affected by rent control.
Right.
That have been negatively affected by vacancy decontrol.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very exciting time.
Can't wait to see how all this is going to come to play, I tell you. I know that I won't be here for a lot of it because I spent so much time here this year.
We will keep you informed.
I have to run up north and see what's going on up there because I'm involved in things up there. I just wish that I could do the same thing there that I've been able to do here. I have a studio. I can bring people in and I can interview them like I did you people. I hope you were watching for the last 5 weeks. We had all these people on the air each group had their 1 week of shows.
Well, I'll make a deal with you. If you start a show, I'll go. You can interview me, and
No, I have a congressman that I'd like to
There you
try
go.
to, and he's will. But see, that there I have to improvise. I have to do it in my home, or I can make a makeshift studio. It doesn't take much to do it.
Sure.
Once you start it, I've done it with one of my cameras, 40 minutes on.
isn't it great? With little things can be done with little resources.
Exactly. Medical marijuana. When that started a couple of years ago, we had our own little shop that opened up in
There you go.
a very small little town.
I don't know if we want to discuss that, though.
No, but the thing is, I was able to do it because I had no place to go, and it was very important to me
Sure.
as a medical professional. I
Sure.
wanted to understand what they were doing. With
I was in the medical field, too.
No, I didn't know that.
My background is health administration,
Okay.
and I was health administrator for about 20 years.
Oh, yeah. Well, you understand, some of the things that come about. But people's health is always important to me, but what's happening now is not a good thing.
This affects
tell
people
you.
directly in all
Yes,
aspects.
exactly.
None of the people who signed our petition to put rent control back on the ballot so we could vote yes or no in favor of or against were homeowners.
Right.
They were people like Terry Wayne.
Yes.
Terry Wayne, who lived for many years in rent control building. But he didn't sign the petition, to my knowledge. Because what was good for the goose was not good for the gander in the last administration.
Right.
I was disappointed in that.
No,
But a
he
lot of
turned redcoat.
homeowners did not forget
Yep.
where they came from. They did not forget that rent control allowed them the opportunity to go to the bank and apply for a mortgage. A lot of homeowners do not forget the fact that their mother or their father may have to downsize one day, and one day soon.
Yep.
And they will want a rent-controlled apartment to which to have them live in.
Exactly.
Homeowners with families do not forget that they have children, and those children are getting out of college and will want to be on their own. They want those children to live in Bayonne.
Mm-hmm.
Without rent control, those children may not be able to afford to do that.
A lot of people have left Bayonne already.
Absolutely. How many have left the state
Yeah.
as a result of vacancy decontrol?
Yeah.
It's a disgrace. The only alternative was given to them was you could move to a senior citizen building. That was not the choice of many people.
It wouldn't
And
be
those
my
with
choice.
families, I can't even tell you what happened to them because they couldn't afford a luxury condominium in Bayonne.
Right.
They may have left town. That's the children. That's our future. Those are the ones that fill our schools. And they've gone because landlords who supported the Smith campaigns were not getting enough money.
Well, I can understand if a landlord, if he keeps up with what has to be fixed in the apartment, he should not have any problems. I had a cab driver one day. I don't know how we happened to talk about apartments, and he says, I own a small set of apartments.
Right.
And I said, you do? And do you have problems, with your building and your tenants? He says, no, my tenants have been with me a long time.
Right.
They do not move. They're very happy. He says, I take care of my place. Maybe it's only 6 apartments that he has, maybe a 3-floor. It's probably one of
Sure.
those small ones on Avenue E. And it's personally owned. It's personally taken care of.
Right.
And he says, my tenants never want to leave. And I make sure that they're happy, and so I have no problems. I said, wow, I wish every landlord was like you.
Well, he's smart enough to know that if he takes care of his tenants,
And the
personally
apartments.
interviews them
Yeah.
and chooses them, like the Shulmans used to do.
Yep.
People who lived in Bayonne that owned apartment buildings would interview people ahead of time.
Right.
Sal Chanchamone, who used to have an apartment building on 18th Street, he never had people moving in and out. He did not have a transient population. You could eat off the floors in the hallway.
Yep.
because he kept it so clean.
Yep.
And he did not need to go to rent control for 2 or 3 years before he sold the building because he was still making a profit.
Right.
Did he become a millionaire from the building? Maybe not. But that was not his goal in life. It was not the goal to become a millionaire off the sweat off the backs of poor working individuals.
Right.
But he kept the rent high enough that he made profit.
Right.
It was
To
a
take
business.
care of what needed to be fixed.
And plus profit.
Yeah.
So I don't know how these landlord out-of-town developers,
Oh, it's an investment. That's
it's
all
an
it is.
investment that should have an honest return. I have
Yeah.
no problems, no qualms with that whatsoever. It's a business.
Right.
They buy a building to make a business. A business should have a profit. Fully with that.
Exactly. It's a job.
However-
It's a job too for them.
Well, if you're out of town, you don't know who your tenants are.
Right.
We had one woman approach Rent Control Board. She was 75 years old. And when she referred to the name of her building owner, the name owner was Victoria Grandi LLC. She assumed that was the name of a single woman.
Right.
Well, she was corrected by the Rent Control Board. And when she asked the correct name of the owner of her building, she was told, you don't need to know the name of your owner. This is a great example of a need for a tenant advocate on the Rent Control Board.
You certainly do.
Not just owners, not just career political followers. We need a rent control, a tenant advocate. Hoboken is looking at putting a tenant advocate in City Hall.
They should.
We may want to look at that also. I'm sure Jimmy Davis's administration would not be opposed to it off the books. I'm not going to promise they're going to do it. I'm not going to suggest that we're even going to push for it. If the right changes are made in the approach and the response,
Right.
there may not be a need. But call 25 times, I'm a senior citizen, my heat is off, is not appropriate.
I had a problem with too much heat. I couldn't breathe, so I had to open up the windows. I hated it because I was always stuffed up and feeling like I'm going to come down with something. No, it was not good. In the winter, it was like 100 degrees in my apartment. I just could not. I couldn't breathe. So they said there's no way to adjust it. Move out if you don't like the too much heat.
That's not harassment.
That's not harassment?
Of course not. We don't harass people in Bayonne. We don't harass tenants because they're protected under the grandfather clause.
So I went to Maine for the winter,
Good
where I
plan.
had 40 below
Did
zero.
not work.
Yeah. So,
Now, could you tell me, do you know who your landlord is?
No, I don't know who it is right
Well,
now.
isn't
It's a company.
Well, the landlord was.
Well, I know it was, what's the name on Broadway?
Were they the managing office?
They had a lot of apartments. They were
Okay.
Jewish family. They were. He's still in town next to Pizza Master. What's his name?
Off the top of my head, I
Nice
can't
man.
say.
Well, he died, of course, and his son took over, and his son finally sold the building.
Okay, I mean the new owners. Did you
The
know?
owners,
Okay.
no, we don't know who they
I'm not
are.
asking who they are. I'm just saying.
No,
do you know?
And I've been out for a couple of years now, so
Okay.
I did know at one point when I got an attorney to see, they
Sure,
were harassing
okay.
me.
You had to get an attorney to find out the name of the person who owned your building.
Right.
That's not what people in Bayonne
Yep.
are used to. That's not what people in Bayonne expect.
Well, I know
They
it's just a
expect-
company to make money. They don't care about you.
But it's owned by individuals.
It's an LLC, so it's a group.
It's owned by individuals.
Yeah.
And you should know who owns that LLC, or be welcome to know who they are.
Well, all I know is I put my check in the mail for the
And
first
that's
of the
all
month.
they care about.
And I do it. And as long as I'm doing that, I don't they're like ghosts in the night. You don't hear about it. Unless they want you out because they want your apartment because
And
your
we don't
rent
even-
is too low.
We-
and they can get 3 times that amount
Right.
if you come
We
out.
do not know who they are. They
Yeah.
have spokesmen.
Oh, yeah, I know they do.
They have managing offices.
Right.
Please, who are they? Give me a break.
Yep. Ghost in the night.
Give me a break. That's all I say. We have to change the structure.
Exactly.
And I call upon all of Bayonne to share in the healing process. There's been great division, almost 50-50 among the city. I'm very proud that 50% of the voting population came out.
Yeah. Really.
That shows an interest in Bayonne's future.
Oh, they have to because they're so unhappy.
Right. Well, some of them felt that the Smith administration was the way to remain. Many of them.
I heard somebody say, I don't care it doesn't bother me, whatever they want to do, it's okay with me. And I wanted to say that is not okay to have an attitude like that.
But did they vote?
I have no idea.
Okay.
This was a
the
man,
key
but he had an
question I
attitude.
asked.
I didn't want to get into
Sure.
it. But I knew
You can't beat ignorance.
firsthand that there were people who would have opposition.
We met a woman while she was signing we asked her to sign the petition for rent control to place it on the ballot the first Tuesday of November. I believe it's November 4th.
Mm-hmm.
I have to check that to make sure.
Right.
She was an older woman, senior citizen, who had never voted.
Oh, my goodness.
And I was shocked to hear that because she was of my generation. And I said to her, do you realize how many people have died to give you that right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And she thought about it. She registered to vote and voted in this year's mayoral election.
Wonderful.
She was a tenant in the rent control building. And she was a tenant in the rent control building that actually they turned the heat off
That's terrible.
in the middle of the winter.
Terrible.
Well, they wanted to empty it. They were new owners,
Yeah, they do terrible things.
2 buildings at the same time. It was on page of the Jersey Journal, but it never mentioned harassment. It was just that the heat was off, that their ceilings were leaking.
I had ceilings in my bathroom fall right into my tub, but it was 4 floors. It was all the tubs in that particular side of the building. All the ceilings fell into the tub.
You know what was curious about that? The next day was City Hall's response, that they handed out fines to the owners of $7,000 per unit. What about the fining the Department of Health for not responding appropriately and not taking appropriate action on those claims? They knew the heat was off.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well, there's a lot of things that weren't good, but things will change, and we pray that your vote is going to make that difference. Thank you all for all of you who did come out to vote, because you will make a change, and you'll see that there's security in numbers. It takes a lot of people. So thank you so much, Ed, for coming
You're very
and
welcome,
bringing
brother.
the rent control up to everybody's attention again. And we'll probably try to do some. We'll see how things go in the next few months. You have to come back another time and say
like to.
what kind of advancements are going on. And
I'd like to come back with a couple of senior
Sure.
citizen tenants or family tenants.
Well, I'm always ready to listen to the people. I always told you if you had something you wanted to tell me, tell me about it. We'll come on the show. We'll put you on if you want to. We'll share it with the rest of the world here. Because we're not unique. Everybody has problems. So I want to thank you again, Ed.
Thank you so much, Gilligan.
For your support for this new election and for the people of Bayonne with the rent control. I'm so happy that we have an advocate like you that is looking out for our interests.
Thank you
Because
so
we
much.
need more like you.
And thank you for your vote for Jimmy Davis.
I just had to do that voting. I would have voted 100 times if they would have let me.
Ooh, that's not legal.
I know it's not legal, but that's how
We
much.
don't want to be accused of voter fraud.
No, but I wanted to make sure that,